Thank you, madam. It's really a pleasure for me to be a part of this initiative, and good morning to all. I am from TVS Motor Company. I work for Srinivasan Services Trust. This is the CSR arm of TVS Motor Company. This is in operation for the last almost 17 to 18 years in the area of community development, even before this Company Act came into being. And we, TVS Motor Company, believe, employees of TVS Motor Company believe that this is an excellent opportunity for all of us to work for the benefit of the community and the benefit of the society. This activities, which we call it as corporate social responsibility, is something which is made available to us. It is an excellent government initiative to give space and time for all of us to give something back to the community. It is something by which we can relate to community. So I'll try to keep this spirit throughout my presentation, and also later when we discuss that why CSR. CSR is nothing but trying to relate ourselves to the society and make ourselves, our relationships stronger. We should not be seen as though we are separate from the society, and as if we are some elites who try to make money out of the activity. Definitely, yes, of course, we will make money out of this for the benefit of all, and we would be a part of the whole development initiatives which is going on in this country. But then that does not stop, and we are more interested in the social part of that inclusive growth, what they call it as, and the corporates would play a larger role in that, and that too in a very, very focused manner. And that spirit, I think, we should all keep throughout today's the seminar which we would be participating. Now, you would you would always see that this is, as I said, even though it is an obligation under the Company Act, the CSR, it is much more, much beyond that. You know, this is something which I said for the benefit of society, on which we are all a part of that. And in an area where everybody must play their own responsibility to see that our brothers and sisters' basic primary needs are taken care of. And that is what this CSR is all about. Now, I am just running through the schedule of the Companies Act. Now, this Company Act, which specifically refers to CSR, has got 10 areas which are eligible for CSR spending. Now, 2% of the profit that the company makes must be spent on certain areas. And those 10 areas are given here. The first area is about poverty alleviation. And that is what this country must be worried about. There are a large section of people who are poor, and poverty and malnutrition, and their poor health, and sanitation, and the need to provide safe drinking water. That is the first area which becomes eligible for CSR spending. Number 2 is education. So number 1 is poverty alleviation. Number 2 is education. Now, whatever we do to provide and support education for poor children, that is eligible for CSR. And now with right to education coming into being, this becomes all the more strengthened. Number 3 is promoting gender equality and empowering. Women's empowerment is a third area after poverty alleviation and education, which becomes eligible for CSR spending. So we must be more worried about quality of education, not just providing education, but quality of education of our children, because our future lies in that. Our children's and our future generations' future lies in this sort of providing education. And then the women. Women becomes a very, very important section which have been neglected, which do not get their responsibilities being recognized, and they are being neglected. Therefore, women's empowerment and women's emancipation becomes very, very important. So whatever we provide for the benefit of Women's empowerment becomes eligible as number third area. Number 4 is the environmental conservation. Now, environmental conservation is receiving more and more importance these days world over, because environment is affected due to various reasons. One of the reasons is definitely the industry themselves letting in certain substances both into water, air and soil, which creates problems. So industry becomes more responsible to ensure that environmental sustainability is ensured. So environmental conservation becomes the fourth area which becomes eligible for CSR spending. Now, number 5 is protection of national heritage, art and culture, which is also important because they are our heritage and our lineage, which needs to be supported. Number 6 is measures for the benefit of armed forces. The country is protected and looked after by the armed forces, and therefore we must take care of them, veterans, war widows and their dependents, which is our responsibility. So that is number 6. Number 7 is to promote sports and games. We want to support our sports. So whatever is necessary for the sports, for the Paralympic sports, Olympic sports, sports is very essential part of our life. So that is another area which becomes eligible, number 7. Number 8 is contribution to Prime Minister's National Relief Fund. Number 9 is contributions of funds to provide technology. Science and development is essential for our development, and therefore for support to academic institutions which are approved by central government becomes important. And so ninth area is support to technology support. And today we are more interested in rural development project, and this is where we are all. Rural development project is the most relevant one as far as we are concerned. And today what I am going to talk about as far as the TVS is concerned is about our involvement in rural development, our involvement in community development, our involvement in village development. For us, as far as India is concerned, rural development is nothing but village development. Rural development is nothing but community development as a whole. Therefore, rural development project is what I am interested to talk about today as part of the CSR, which TVS has got the previous experience. And TVS has got a certain vision and mission in the whole process. We want to be a partner in transformation of rural communities and urban slums by empowering people to achieve sustainable development. We do not want to give them everything. We do not want to be as if they are receivers of a charity. We want them to feel proud that they are going to do it themselves, and our job is to make them and empower them to do the job themselves. We are only supporting them, we are only facilitating them. So our mission is to be a partner. Our mission is to facilitate the process of sustainable development in over 5,000 villages. We want to see that the villages become self-sufficient and self-dependent. By 2020, we want to take up 5,000 villages through active participation of national and state governments. We do not intend to do anything wholly by ourselves. We would only support the initiatives and activities of both the national as well as state government, ensure that the villages become self-sufficient, and we work in partnership with other NGOs, other corporate houses, and other people who are interested in development of rural communities. Therefore, ours is a participatory, holistic, participatory, sustainable development program, which we want to achieve about 5,000 villages by 2020, and at the moment, we are working in 2,500 villages, 50% of that by in 2020, in another, maybe in 6 years, we would like to achieve 5,000. That means we have to develop by that time. Now, these are the 5 states where we operate. In Tamil Nadu is our major center, Karnataka and Andhra Pradesh, the adjacent states, and then the Maharashtra and Himachal Pradesh. These are the 5 states where we are operating our community development programs through teams which are stationed in those states. Now, why do we do this? We do this only to empower, as we said, our main thing continues to we keep talking about empowering people and transform communities. These 2 words are very, very important for us, and every one of us always try to remember this. Whatever activity we do, we want to transform communities and empower them to achieve development. And what we expect is we would like to achieve happy, healthy, and economically self-reliant communities which are self-sufficient. And we also believe that if they do that, there will be an excellent relationship between the society and the industry. That's what we call it as social fencing. You don't need to force anything on them. We will ensure that the relationship between the community and the industry becomes harmonious, and it will be beneficial to both. After all, you have to keep in your mind that we are genuinely interested in ensuring that both the corporates and the community benefits out of the CSR. Now, integrated development, which we are talking about in villages, this is not just a charity or philanthropy. You can give money, enough of money, if you got, you can give it to villages and then say, come on, I will provide you all the infrastructure required. I will provide you all the facilities required for the best education in the village. I will provide all the support necessary for health. I will provide all the health support necessary for environmental conservation. By giving this money as charity, it will never ever be developed in sustainable terms. You can do it at one time. But if you want to sustain it, then you have to have that ownership by community. Community must take up ownership. The villagers must accept that it is for us, and there must be 100% participation by them, which means you have to build a partnership in which the initiatives are taken by the community. You must take a back seat. You must only be facilitators, and you must only facilitate the government programs, and you must only fill up wherever there are gaps, and thereby you must ensure that the holistic sustainable community development becomes sustainable over a long period of time. That's what we are doing. Our programs are run on not a large amount of money, but very small amount of money. But what we do is to ensure that the villagers are accepting those programs as theirs, and they take a larger role in that, and also ensure that they continue to do that over a period of time. Now, I would like to explain two important areas of community development. And one is, if you look at the village ecosystem, this slides gives you, this I have only borrowed from Mr. Agarwal, who was a person who was interested in environmental conservation, but his concept I have just borrowed. And this concept very clearly gives about the ecosystem of a village. Now, if you look at those three areas, the top one, the light green area, the second is the dark green area, and the third one is the blue area. Now, in these things, all the three, the number one, if you take the bottom one, the blue area, that gives the social structure, the green area gives the basic needs of the village, and number three, the light green area gives the details of natural resource base. Now, if you take the dark blue area on this picture, you will find the varied nature of the village. If you take a village, you will find richer people, poor people, marginal people, the people who are from various castes, then the gender disparity, then houseless and households people. You will find all sorts of variations. Now, in community development, what one is supposed to do is to understand this, understand the varied needs of people, and address them by various government programs and also your own programs. We in TVS, we always feel that if you can understand the basics of the needs of the villagers, then the rest becomes easier. This is the most difficult in a village or community development program. Over the years, we have tried to understand it better and better, and we try to address that. Once you understand the needs of the villagers and address them, then the community development becomes more meaningful, and the community will also accept that. What is supposed to be done is that basic thing of the varied nature, the variability of the village life must be understood in its social structure. Then the basic needs of that green, dark green part of that, they may require whatever they need. They may need educational needs, they may need the health needs, drinking water needs, irrigation needs, housing needs, or communication needs. All these needs must be very, very clearly understood, prioritize them, and then you look at how to meet them. Now, how to meet them, there must be income, there must be money available, there must be resource available, and that's what that light green is talking about. Any village for that matter will have some resource available. It may be agriculture, it may be animal husbandry, it can be the skills which that village has got, which they may be able to do. It can be the service capability of that village, it may be the land which is available, it may be the ponds and tanks which that village has got. So all that resources which are available must be fully utilized. So if these three are basically understood clearly, then only we can start working on a village development program. Now this, with keeping that in our mind, those three areas of a village ecosystem, I would like to introduce this concept of rural livelihood system also. This rural livelihood system mandala, which I have put it as the 9 squares, which usually in our traditions we think of this as very auspicious 9 squares, which has got a different meaning altogether. And in these 9 squares, we can definitely build up the rural livelihood system. That is what happens in a village. If you take a house, the house has got a basement. The house has got a simple house which is like a hut. You take a hut, there is a basement, there is a room and an inner space inside the room, and there is a roof. These are the three main structure of a house. Now if you compare this rural livelihood system to a house, if you take the lowermost portion of the this structure, which is number 1, number 2 and number 3. Number 1, if you look at it, is physical base. Number 2 is knowledge and activity base. And number 3 is emotional base. Now this is the base of the whole village. If you take a village and if you compare it to a house as the foundation or this basement, then the physical base is nothing but, as we said in the previous picture, the whole resource available in that village. That is the physical base, that land, water, animals, agriculture, or maybe, as I said, there's some skills which they got. There may be weavers, there may be carpenters, whatever they have got. So natural resource base which is available there is very important, which is physical base. And even the accumulated wealth which is available there. Knowledge base. Now that village has got a certain agricultural knowledge, knowledge on certain skills, traditional knowledge, labor, services, professions, and the technology in that village. That becomes number 2, that is the base. Number 3 is emotional base, which should not be forgotten about at all, because their feelings, their attachments, their culture. Now these 3 properly understood, we can build upon that. The space above that. The space is number 4, socio-economic space. Number 5, family space. Number 6, inner human space. This that is, as I said, in a house, first emotional base, knowledge base, and physical base. Over that, the space, that is inside a room, there is a space which we call it as the socio-economic space. Now if you take a socio-economic space, all that comes within the village. There may be cooperatives, there may be panchayat, there may be other institutions, farmers club, self-help groups. All these are socio-economic space which are available in a village. But one must always understand that the space which we are talking about will be for 3 levels. The first level is individual, second level is family, third level is community. If you take even this picture, the lowermost the level is for individual, the middle level is for family, the third level is for community. So 3 levels you will find in all villages. What is the individual's requirement? What is the family's requirement? What is the community's requirement? Now in each of this community development, we must understand this. So the second level is family space and inner human space. So socio-economic space, family space, and inner space is the middle level of an RLS Mandala, and that must be clearly understood. Now in a family space, there are a lot of things. There are gender, male and female relationship, health of the family, family's workload, and how well women are recognized or even exploited. Then the inner human space, the sixth is also equally important. That means it is the integrity, the awareness, the affection. That is in a man how or a woman how they take it in the village as such. Are they loving their village? Are they accepting the village life as an important part of their life? How well are they taking? So that also matters in community development. Then only the participation will come. The third level, as I said, is the collective part of that. That is the community's part. So there it comes into collective orientation. That's where we make all the community to work together, because when they collect together only their common properties and their laws and their written and unwritten rules and regulations and how well they join together, that is the collective orientation. The family orientation is also coming in there, because family to family marriages and they're getting together, their caste system, social status, all that is based on family, to which family you belong, how well this family and this family will go together, and how well you accept others. So that family orientation is definitely important in a village. Unless you understand that and you address them, your community development cannot be done. Then the individual orientation, that comes the last one, how well we are able to understand individual. Why am I explaining all this? I am explaining all these things because a village development is very complicated. Village development is not as simple as one just makes out, go to village and take up development program. If you want to take a village development program, the village life variability, the difficulties which are there, the needs of the villagers in terms of individual, in terms of families, in terms of community as a whole, if it is not properly understood and accepted, then your whole planning goes wrong. Therefore, this must be very clearly accepted. So I would perhaps think that we must understand the village ecosystem and also the rural livelihood system to properly understand and plan for community development. Now, the factors which are influencing village development are, as I have already explained, to just put it in brief, the resources which are available, the infrastructure which are there and which must be built up, the knowledge and skills which are available and which must be built up, and the people together. Now, this is what will influence the village development, to put it in brief from the last two slides. Now, I just take some few minutes to explain what do we do, what are the steps involved. This is really the nitty-gritty of the whole thing. What do we do in village development under the part of the corporate social responsibility? Now, these are the genuine basic things which happens in the field. The number one is how do you select a village? First, number one is you have to select a village, and it depends upon your need, which the concerned company must decide. What is your criteria? How do you select? I'll definitely explain how we select village selection. Then once you select a village, then how do you mobilize people? How do you talk to them? What happens after that? And then how do you create awareness about the village development? Now, that is the first part. Now, second part is once you select a village and mobilize villagers and create a sort of an initial awareness, you have to have a sort of a trust building or confidence building with those villagers. They must accept you and you must accept villagers. Both must are going to build work as partners. Yeah, and the partners must understand each other, partners must have confidence with each other, they must trust each other, which means you must have a sort of a mechanism to do that. This RPRA which I have put there, it is nothing but rapid participatory rural appraisal. This is a very simple technique. You don't take too much of a time. You do certain basic exercises in the field, which are all well documented. You go to the village, talk to them in a certain method. For example, if you go there and take a transect from one end of the village to the other end, talking to people, spending time, noting down what all you see, that is called as a transect walk, which is to be done in a village. If you do that, you will come to know a lot of things. Then you do a sort of a map preparation of the village. You take the village as a unit and start preparing a map of all that is available there. Likewise, you keep on doing a sort of few exercises. It is called rapid participatory rural appraisal, and you consult with people, keep on building up a sort of a talk with the people. That helps you to build confidence further and further, and a stage will come, then they will accept you. If they don't accept you, if they are not having trust on you, I think the participatory process will fail. Therefore, this is a very, very important step in the process of village development, wherein an outsider goes to the village, convince them that you are genuinely interested in taking welfare of theirs and looking after the welfare of theirs, and therefore they accept them as partner. You and the village become partners in community development. Number 3, data collection and benchmark survey. Data collection and benchmark survey is also essentially required. What exactly are the data available in the village? Some data are already there. Some of the demographic data, how much population, how many houses, what exactly is the income that is being generated, what is the process. All these data are already there that you can collect. They are all primary data which are available. Secondary data you have to generate if at all you want. And that can be used as a benchmark survey. What is the status of the villages at that point of time? Number 4 is identification of the needs and aspiration and match up with government schemes. Now when you do this data collection and benchmark survey, it opens out the whole village before you. Then you will have to understand and talk to them that what exactly are the needs. You are not talking of their wants. You are talking of the basic needs. What are the needs of the villages? As I said earlier, what are the needs of the individual? What are the needs of the family? What are the needs of the community? And then you match it up with various government programs and schemes are already there. Now, if you take a National Rural Employment Guarantee Program, it addresses the needs of employment per se. It's a Government of India scheme. Or it may be some state government schemes or called self-sufficiency schemes, in which you can use that scheme to meet the needs of the community or individuals' needs. Some individual needs some support. So suppose if it is a person who is so poor that he does not get any support from anywhere else, and he has to be matched with some of the social welfare schemes, maybe pension scheme, maybe handicapped support scheme, or maybe widows support scheme, or maybe even the poor people who do not have any other dependence on anything. So therefore they need some support from the social welfare schemes, or it may be from the agriculture development scheme. So whatever schemes which are available needs to be matched with the needs, and this is very important in the initial stages. The last one is prioritization of needs. The village selection, as I said, I'll come back to that. Village selection must be based on certain criteria. Now that is based on what you have in mind. As far as TVS is concerned, we do village selection on certain basis. We select the villages around all our factories. Wherever our factories are situated around the factory in a radius of say 5 kilometers, all the villages, we would like to see that they are brought in as the program villages or the project villages. Now we also selected rural interior villages, tribal villages, where we find that they are the people who are deprived of the benefits of development. We select the tribal villages. Now if you take Tamil Nadu, we select villages in Javadi Hills, we take in Chiteri Hills, where most of the people are tribals. Likewise in other states also we select tribal settlements. So either around our factory or around our around the larger interior rural areas, we select villages. So it is for us to decide what is the criteria for selection. You select the villages with certain your priorities, or you consult people and then you do that, then it becomes all the more meaningful. Then after that, sixth state is statement estimating the requirements and demands in terms of money. How much money do you require for meeting those prioritized needs? Then as analyzing supply position source wise. Once the needs are done, then you try to match up, maybe from government schemes you can mobilize, or from your own funding, or you try to develop more partners. You can even mobilize funds from the community. Community, if they are genuinely interested, in our case, 10 to 15% of the fund comes from the community. That is very, very important, because if the money comes from them, then the ownership is better. And once the ownership is better, the sustainability is definitely ensured. Then comes evolving strategies to bridge the gap between demand and supply. After the 6th and 7th, you find that there are some gaps. Then also you keep working with people and working yourself, your own organization, see that that gap is narrowed down and it is met. Then comes identification of activities, evaluation and selection. Out of that above position, you identify activities which are very important in terms of timings. You have to prioritize them, but which comes first and which comes later and which comes last, and keep on doing that over a period of time. It is also advisable to prepare a site-specific plan which will give you a clear direction and goal. Then the 11th one is estimation of groups and execution of works. You will have to form the groups and execute the works, because you cannot do it yourself. You have to have groups from the villages themselves. It may be various groups. It may be, in fact, we make use of the Gram Sabhas which are already existing of the whole village. Then you may have to form women's group, which is self-help groups. Now if you take TVS has got 7,000 self-help groups of women working in 2,500 villages. We have also 2,000 farmers clubs which are working. These are all groups which are formed of the villages to look for execution of works. Then the facilitation of government schemes and programs. This is where one has to be playing a very large role. We play a very important role in this. Contact the government departments, both at the state level, the district level, the block level, and try to ensure that you facilitate the various government schemes and programs and ensure that it reaches the really needy poor and the really needy villages. The 13th one is monitoring, auditing and reporting. This is also essentially required because this is not just that you do a program and leave it. You have to do it professionally. So you keep monitoring the program on a regular basis, some of them on a daily basis, some of them weekly, monthly, and then every year you'll have to monitor, audit it, and report it at various levels. So we have field level units, we have various personnel who are implementing the program, who will keep monitoring this program and reporting to the headquarters, and headquarters finally monitors the program on a monthly basis. Then comes the documentation and dissemination. Whatever you have done needs to be documented and disseminated in your own reports or in your own websites or whatever is available. It needs to be presented so that everybody understands what has been done and who has benefited. What one is interested is, what is the impact? What you have done is not that important, but what have you achieved? How many people have benefited? How many villages have developed with the initiatives that you have taken is all that is important. Then last comes the gradation of villages and gradual and partial withdrawal. There are, you have entered a village, you have taken a village development, you have partnership development, but it cannot go on and on and on. You have to gradually come out of it, and you can keep the relationship, you can definitely keep it going, but not actively. You have to become passive partners later. You keep supporting them morally, you keep, but not in terms of money. You have to gradually come out of that once it reached a certain level of development. That's where it will depend again on each corporates to understand and accept that what sort of development you want to reach and how do you finally withdraw. Because you can't suddenly leave them and run away. Because the whole thing will fail. So you must have a plan in place. How do you withdraw? How do you come out of that village? And even if you come out, how do you keep the relationship going? This is also essentially required. We do it in terms of deciding the level of development. And we have 5 levels of development, starting from nothing to total self-sufficiency. And once we find that the villages have reached self-sufficiency level, we try to gradually come out of that, but keep the relationship intact. Now, this far about the steps involved. Now, I will get into the process of various developmental initiatives. Now, we do take up villages for community development, and we do development in 5 areas. 5 verticals, we call it as 5 areas where development is focused upon, and the number 1 is economic development. To me, this is the developmental initiative which is essentially required in village development program. To take all of us, we all perhaps interpret development in terms of how much money do we earn more. If you don't earn money, if you don't have means of earning money, then all this development is all theoretical talking about. You may say, oh, I am well developed, I am cultured, I am civilized, I am okay. But it does not make sense in today's world. In materialistic world, what is essentially required is how much money does each individual make, how much money each family makes, how much money the community makes. Now, usually for this development, we don't look at individual, we look at family as a unit. As I said, the demand is for individual, family and community. Now, for individual, there are different, we will look at individuals' needs later. But this economic development looks at family. We have taken, TVS has taken family as a unit, and we say that each family must earn minimum 15,000 rupees per month. This is for a general family. For tribal families, we bring it down and we make the limit to around 8,000, because there the problem is severe. This limit may not be applicable, but otherwise generally in 2,500 villages, we have decided that each family must earn at least rupees 15,000 per month to make a decent living. Now, poverty can be defined by various ways. In fact, government defines in other ways. They say that how much money is spent per day, both in rural or in urban areas. But, to be more meaningful, we must also, it should be easy for us to understand and accept. It should be easy for villagers also to accept. And our discussion with villagers shows they can only earn a decent living if at least minimum 15,000 rupees per month of income is available. When we say that, it does not mean that every month they should earn. It can be annually, into 12 into 15,000, totally that much of money is required for them to make a decent living. Now, what do we do to make this 15,000 rupees per month? Already they must be earning some money, but if they are earning much lesser than this, our aim should be to ensure that they cross this limit. Now we try to ensure to do this through women mainly. That's what I said, we enroll women in self-help groups and get them to earn a minimum of rupees 3,500 per month. They must earn 3,500 is what we always used to think. You see, look at TVS. It has, as I said, 7,000 self-help groups, and a number of women who are enrolled is 1,05,000 women who are working in this, and they have till now saved an amount of 32 crores of rupees till now from the beginning of the self-help groups, all the 7,000 self-help groups. And you know, the amount of loan they could procure from the bank was 75 crores, which means that much of money we can make it available to the villages. Now, it's not that easy at all to form self-help groups, make them to do this thrift and credit in the self-help groups, and then make them to take up some income generating activity and earn at least a minimum 3,500 rupees per month to ensure that the family's needs are taken care of. We also support farmers. As I said, there are 2,000 farmers club which we are supporting, we are facilitating and supporting. And now these farmers are encouraged to adopt modern agricultural practices in terms of your better soil practices, soil health practices, usage of the higher yielding varieties of crops, better agronomic practices, and better marketing practices. With this, they are able to earn a better, decent income, better income, both in terms of crops as well as plant crops as well as animal husbandry crops. The second, that's what this introduce modern livestock management practices. We try to support this in all the villages as per the requirement of the village and villagers, and ensure that these two, agriculture and the livestock management, gives them the maximum income. And as far as the youth are concerned, there are large number of youth in villages which are unemployed and underemployed. We try to understand them and support them in vocational skills, and also enhancing their capacity depending upon the need of the areas around, including our own industry, and ensure that their skills are made up or are enhanced so that they can get employed and they can also earn a decent income, which all put together, all this income put together should take them to more than 15,000 rupees per month. That's the major development, economic development, which TVS and SST supports in all the program villages which it takes. Now this is not an easy thing, it is a very, very difficult job. And if you do that, you are more than 50 to 60% of the job is over. If you can ensure that people in all the program villages earn sufficient amount of money to lead a decent, good way of life, then the rest will fall in place. Health will fall in place, education will fall in place, including environment will fall in place. All these will happen, and if all these things only happen if we can succeed in this. Now look at the results of ours. 83,000, that is 50% of the self-help group members earn additional. That means that the 83,000 numbers earn additional income ranging from 3,500 to 4,000 through income generation activities. Now 1,23,000 farmers get yields above state average. 1,11,000 families earn additional income of 3,000 through livestock, and 29,000 youth trained, and their monthly income ranges from 5,000 to 12,000. Now this is what we have done in the last 16, 17 years in community development in 2,500 villages. These are the figures which we have collected through our own source and cross-checked and also audited. And this gives us a sort of an understanding. What have we done and what is the impact generated? This must continuously be monitored and evaluated to come to terms with the impact. How much impact have we made in this program? Impact of economic development, the percentage of people depending on money lenders reduced from 19% to 3% in the last 5 years. This is in terms of 1,500 villages, not 2,500, because 1,000 we added last year. But this 1,500 villages, we have figures to show that the people who are otherwise spending money on borrowing from money lenders at a very high rate of interest and losing money Now through the self-help group program and also by supporting the other activities, both agriculture, animal husbandry based and youth development, we have been able to reduce this dependency on money lenders, and that has produced a considerable impact on the lives of people. Now financial security of 1,61,000 families, their monthly income exceeds 15,000 per month, which means 1,61,000 families in 2,500 villages today have an income of more than 15,000. Which means, their quality of life improves. The quality of life improves when income is definitely available. If income is not available and the majority of the people are poor, then their health and education would suffer, and then the whole quality of life suffers. Our aim is to ensure that the whole quality of life of people are up to the basic standard. Now, we have serious problem in villages in terms of irregular employment. Our aim should be to see that we create assets. We create assets in villages, maybe plant-based, agriculture-based, or animal husbandry-based, or even poultry-based, or even fisheries-based, or even skilled employment-based, so that they get employment through the major part of the life. We support the various income-generating activities. These are, in our industry, we require a large amount of food to meet the requirement of our employees, our workers. Now, we ensure that the self-help groups of women around the factories, the villages, they make the food and the supply to our canteen. Now this is on a contract basis. The self-help groups takes a contract, and then they supply it as per the requirement of the industry, and the specifications are very rigid. Hygiene-wise, the quality, taste-wise, the all specification must be met, and it is continuously monitored, and it helps a large number of women. Likewise, economic development, and I find livestock development is playing a very, very large role in these villages, where you'll have to ensure that the animal needs are taken care of, good animal husbandry practices are supported, and you'll have to also ensure that the products which they are selling gets a real reasonable good market price. Now, youth employment, that was what I was talking as the fourth category. Again, we try to select them, identify them, select them, and support them. After the education also is supported. Once they complete high school, people who cannot pursue higher education, they are given sort of a skill training, capacity building training, and it is matched to the requirement of the industry, and ensure that they are provided employment, meaningful employment. Therefore, their income goes up. That is as far as employment, the income and employment generation is concerned. The second part is addressing preventive health care. So in any community development, the most important thing is first address the economic development, address the individual's income, maybe for farmer, maybe for women, maybe for youth, and then once that is addressed, you can also side by side parallelly address preventive health care. You see, health is a very large subject. But what we do in community development, we try to address the preventive health care. We make people aware of the personal hygiene and also nutrition. And then we try to match up with facilities available in government program. Wherever government program is not available, we start our own primary health centers with doctors appointed to look after that. Where no primary health centers, we run our own primary health centers with doctors and paramedical staff. But we are more interested in ensuring that the nutritional needs of everybody is taken care of, because most of the diseases happens mainly because of nutritional deficiency and not providing proper safe drinking water. If you provide a safe drinking water, keep the area neat and clean, and if the nutritional needs are taken care of, most of the other simple diseases can be taken care of. That's what we do. The other care, health care is necessary. That has to be dealt from the other institutions. But basic care for the people as far as health is concerned, we try to address them, and we try to ensure that they are healthy. Once they are healthy, they will be able to make a decent living and also indulge in activity which will give them income. Now, improved health care, as I said, primary health center is where we are more interested in tying up, and they should be in good conditions. We support all the needs of the primary health center. You see, all primary health centers do not have all facilities which are required. So we support them in terms of funding, and also getting work done. We ourselves do the work and ensure that every primary health center has got good water facilities, good toilet facilities, good other equipments, and we ensure that it does a good job. We try to support and motivate the staff there, and we try to tie it up with the people's needs. And as I said, where primary health centers do not exist, we construct and maintain our own primary health centers to take care of the needs of the villages. The purpose is to reduce infant mortality and maternal mortality rate, because they are the most important thing in the case of villages for both mother and child. And we also try to support reduce malnutrition among children, reduce anemia among women, reduce incidence of infectious diseases, and access to safe drinking water. Now, this is what we continue to do. We keep on repeating it, and this is something which must be done till the health of everybody improves in the program villages. Results: we have renovated and improved 53 PHCs, and IMR and MMR reduced from 1.8 to 0.37 per thousand, and 19 to 11/9 for 1 lakh live births in the case of MMR, that is mother's mortality rate. Infant mortality rate and mother's mortality rate are reduced, and this is something which is equivalent to some of the developed countries. So we are quite good in all these villages to ensure that mother and children's welfare and health are taken care of. Malnutrition also is very high in our country. In these program villages where we are working due to continuous support and care for better food being taken, better hygiene and sanitation, we find malnutrition has come down even in the children's, because we work in Anganwadis and Balwadis. All the Anganwadis and Balwadis we work throughout and ensure that the children's needs are taken care of. Incidence of anemia is also been brought down from 51%. 1 in 2 women were anemic in all these villages where we have been working. Now it has come down to 1 in 3, but still a long way to go. So we are still fighting with that, because most of these women are poor in nutrition and their hemoglobin level is very much down, and unless we bring them up, their health cannot be improved. Incidence of infectious diseases also we have reduced considerably. Infectious diseases like malaria, tuberculosis, and such sort of infectious communicable diseases. And also has come down. No, it comes down once the income level goes up, the general awareness about the environment is also understood, and nutrition goes up, the incidence of infectious disease also comes down. Now 1,638 villages out of 2,500 has got access to safe drinking water. Our intention is to see that all the villages are provided with potable, good, safe drinking water, so that you don't get waterborne diseases by any means. Because most of these villages you find have got diarrhea and loose motion. All this because of very poor drinking water availability in these villages. Unless if you make it really an effect, then the most important thing is make it clean and neat and ensure that they get good, safe drinking water. Then the sort of waterborne and other communicable diseases goes down. Impact of health initiatives. We have now ensured that 100% institutionalized delivery, so mother's mortality rate goes down, the infant mortality rate goes down, and the child and mother's health goes up. And then follow-up action is also continuously taken. Expenditure incurred by a family for medical treatment has been reduced. This general inquiry that we have been making in most of the villages, this figure need not be taken so seriously. Generally, we find that there is a reduction in the expenditure of family on health-related issues because their health condition has improved. That is as far as the health is concerned. So, initiatives taken in income generation followed by health. This is one of the primary health centers which we are maintaining. And supplementary nutrition, as I said, health is maintained by nutrition. And therefore, those two are very important things, the income generation and preventive health care. Number 3 is providing quality education. We want to ensure that every child studies and do not remain back without going to school. And we also would like to see that everybody becomes literate. What we are talking about is functional literacy. They are able to just read and write, that's all. They are able to understand, and they do not remain totally illiterate. So child and child care, and also for other mainly women who are uneducated must be made functionally literate. So we try to connect between school and community, that is run through parent-teacher associations. We provide financial security wherever schools needs it, and our aim is to see that learning becomes joyful. Children enjoy learning, and we provide all the equipments and facilities which are necessary for that. We try to provide a good infrastructure. All the schools we ensure are provided with toilets, good drinking water facility, and good kitchen. These are the three basic things we try to make sure that each and every school, from primary school, secondary school, high school in our villages, gets this basic facility. We support that financially, and after that, if some schools have got some serious problem with reference to school classrooms and facilities and equipments, then we also support that depending upon the requirement and the priority. We ensure that the teachers are motivated. We support them, we respect them, regard them, and also motivate them so that the society and we take adequate care of them, and ensure that the parents, teachers, and the children all together, and the Srinivasan services together ensure that the quality education is provided in all the primary, secondary, and high schools. Now we also provide sufficient support in Balwadis and Anganwadis. Balwadis and Anganwadis, adult literacy is what we are more taking interest for adults. So, and in addition to that, we also provide the basic infrastructure for Balwadis. In Balwadi also we provide enough of importance to both drinking water, toilets, and also for the kitchen. Then we also ensure that each and every child gets enrolled. Active participation of mother volunteers. Every day one mother volunteer comes and works along with the Balwadi worker in Balwadis, and in schools we take sufficient care to see that everybody learns what they are supposed to learn. Slow learners are given adequate priority, and we provide career guidance to people who pass out of 10th and 12th, and we take a special interest to make all illiterate women are made literate, functionally literate. Now the results of intervention in education, we are working in 751 Balwadis and 645 schools, and they made them as model ones, which means model means all the primary requirements required. The atmosphere is made sufficiently good so that Balwadian schools are areas of attraction and people come and get the benefits out of it. 99% enrollment and 89% regular attendance in Balwadis. 100% enrollment and attendance in schools. 85% Balwadis are supported by mother volunteers, and 90% involvement of parent in parent-teacher association. Pass percentage in board exam ranges between 88 to 100%. This is another important thing, because after all it is considered pass percentage is essential, but we don't judge only by pass percentage, but since the child is judged by how much mark he gets, we also ensure that they get good marks in the exam and they pass. Then 65,000 women made functionally literate. Now this is the achievement of our intervention in education. So education is one important area of community development. So after economic development and health, the third is education. The fourth, the impact again continuing, slow learners among primary school may reduced. Percentage of students enrolled in professional courses increased from 13% to 14.5%. This is a large one because we encourage most of the people to go for professional courses, even diploma in various technical courses, or even other higher courses if they are genuinely interested. We don't force them, but we motivate them, and that is going to help the children in the later life. Now these are all pictures of good pictures of children studying in either schools or Anganwadis, where enough of facilities and environment is provided. Good facilities are provided for children to perform. We are making use of the technology also, even for children in lower schools otherwise who are not provided. When we provide tablets to children to use it and understand the whole process of knowledge available around, it becomes really useful. Children become more curious and they start working well. Adult literacy, as I told you, our aim is to make them functionally literate, and it is playing a large role. The fourth area is to clean environment. This is a very challenging thing. Today this is a topic which is discussed nationally, where everybody must keep their surroundings clean, and villages must be open defecation free. We must provide, ensure that toilets are provided in each and every house. Nobody defecates in the open. And the program goes on without any waste being spread all around the villages. So both the solid waste disposal and liquid waste disposal, it becomes a very, very challenging thing, and in every place, villages, towns and cities. This is a talk of the day. How do you ensure that the areas are kept neat and clean, providing safe drinking water which goes along with the health. And we also try to support afforestation programs, and ensure that the carbon that is let into the environment is also kept steady, and soil conservation and water conservation. Now this is what we are trying to intervene in the case of environment. So that is also being done on a larger scale. Now environment, as I said earlier, this is the clean and green environment, converting waste into wealth, soil and water conservation, afforestation, and some conservation of natural resources like sparrow conservation. Both solid waste, what we try to do is ensure that each and every one do not spread the solid waste into the common areas, but have their own compost pits, or at least if not possible common compost pits, convert all the solid waste to liquid waste after segregation. In the case of water, the sewage water is concerned, we try to ensure that there are percolation pits which are dug up so that they can let their own water into those pits, or if it is not possible, they are let into the drainage and in a common place, that again it is properly and safely let out. Then coming to the results, the amount of compost pits that are generated for disposal of solid waste is 1,84,000, liquid waste in kitchen gardens, and also solid pits and drains constructed around the household. Then something like 12,000 acres covered under soil and water conservation, fallow lands brought under cultivation, and then a very large area of degraded forest are forested along with the forest department as a partner, and then sparrow conservation introduced in 20 villages. This is in clean and greening support under the impact of environment. Now today, because of that, you will find something like how many villages are free from garbage and also from liquid sewerage. Now we have got a lot of Nirmal Bharat award in many of these villages, and roads and streets are free from wastewater stagnation. Fallow land is under cultivation, and water table increase in most of the villages. These are the pictures of some of the cleaning and keeping areas green. Our own self-help groups of women and our people engaged plus Panchayat together ensure that the wastewater are managed properly. Now this is a photograph of an afforestation program which we have taken up along with the Department of Forestry in some states, and also the environment conservation for support of animals or birds which are facing endangerment. The last intervention is about our role in improving infrastructure. Now, after taking care of the economic development, health, education, and then environment, the last one is improving infrastructure. Infrastructure required for villages to enhance the accessibility in terms of communication, in terms of shelter, and in terms of water and sanitation. Now, infrastructure development, we ensure that easy access to villages, good school and balawadi, which I have already explained, enable economic, health, education, environment, whatever schemes are required, and community taking ownership of this infrastructure which are created. Now we have taken initiative along with the concerned department. 514 kilometers of road are formed and maintained with support from our funding and also funding from the concerned Department of Rural Development in the villages. 82 community toilets which are constructed and being maintained by the self-help groups of those community. 673 school toilets constructed, 714 balwadi toilets constructed, 687 check dams and water harvesting structures, and 399 community building constructed. Now these are all done by our own engineers. We engage our own engineers and work along with the concerned government departments and ensure that the basic minimum infrastructure required in villages are met. That is the way we go about it. And then coming to the results further, impact of infrastructure development, effective implementation of various projects has resulted in increase in land value of the villages, 100% fulfillment of the required basic infrastructure, and increase in trade. In any case, if basic infrastructure is available, then the facility goes up. Infrastructure pictures, some of them community toilets which are constructed in construction of pedestrian bridges, construction of roads, and likewise. Now we also take care of the development of cultural and social harmony. They are not just the 5 areas we said. We would like to see that the villages are peaceful, villages are harmonious, and do not have unrest. And we, as I said earlier, we also ensure that the community participates, and the empowered community, once it participates, you will find that the program is sustainable. We strengthen the community-based organizations, we create social leaders who take the leadership and also initiative, recognize local and government officials, and make a community realize that SST is partnering with them and not doing the work of a donor giving money, and they become beneficiaries. Results, we find that Gram Sabha meetings are regularly conducted, social leaders and government officials participate in them and explain the purpose of Gram Sabha and how they should participate in community development. Social leaders take responsibility for the one, and we also celebrate village festivals regularly to ensure that the villagers accept and implement the program themselves. Impact of community participation by SST, 599 villages development programs are undertaken by the community. They are self-reliant, which means out of 2,500, 599 villages have almost reached their self-sufficiency. They can look after themselves. They don't need much support from outside. Only the regular government programs must generally be done, and they are aware of it. You see, most of the problem is the innocence of the villagers and their unawareness. Once they are aware of the whole program, their participation becomes better. Social harmony is prevailing in most of the villages. Better awareness of government schemes, as I said, once it becomes aware, they will contribute more. These are all well organized Gram Sabha meetings, village meetings, and all that. Now I'm coming to the end of it. The benefits of CSR are, you will find a good communal harmony among the villages as far as the community is concerned. For company, after all, company needs a good brand. Now if I say I am from TVS and I am going to work in your villages, I don't need even introduce myself, because they have now, by this time, adjacent villages comes to hear and see what TVS is doing. Are they doing it for any other self-motivated interest, or are they doing it for the sake of doing real good service? Now if you do that, your company gets a good brand. Now the villages, once it develops and it becomes self-sufficient, the crime rate will go down, and it will also reduce migration from villages due to unemployment. This is one serious issue which affects otherwise socially the whole families. Children do not study, the women do not get adequate attention to health, and they are suffering due to unemployment and migration. That should stop. They must become empowered citizen, and the effective outreach of government welfare schemes. Good governance will be the role. Good governance, good benefit, good community, and happy community, self-sufficient community is the benefit which comes to the community, and community's happiness index goes up. If you have an index calculated for the result of community, because of the continuous community development program by all together, we do not take credit ourselves at all. We do not even put a publicity board there. We simply work along with the villages, and villagers should talk about it. Villagers should understand that, and then you will find that the whole happiness index of the community goes very high. As far as the company is concerned, it gets a good brand recognition. Its relationship with the villages around becomes very harmonious. There will be no strain unnecessarily which otherwise starts developing. Improved employee morale will be there because they become proud of their institution. Higher sustainability. And then as I said, social fencing, because you don't need anything to be enforced. They themselves will accept that there must be a perfect understanding between the company and the people around. Therefore, it is a win-win situation for community and company. It is also a relationship which will continue and endure, and it is an activity which will make everybody happy. Unless the company and the community enjoys working as partners, this will not happen. So this is an opportunity. This is an excellent opportunity which is provided to the company to respond. It's an excellent opportunity for community to accept. It's an excellent opportunity for the government to become more proactive, provide enough of space and provide enough of recognition to the company to play a largely positive and a creative sort of a response. And if these are done in CSR, I am sure that it will produce maximum benefit. So this is what I wanted to introduce. It's a long story. I'm sorry that I have taken too much of a time because it involves a lot of activities, lot of explanation. So I have tried to do justice to that, and I have introduced the whole topic as to how community development can play a very, very large role in the area of rural development, which is the 10th area of CSR, where a company can take it as one of the larger initiative, and all the villages around each of the industries can become partners with them. They must have regards and respect with each other, genuine respect and regard, and if the company genuinely involves itself, builds a professional body with a clear thinking and initiative, the CSR can play a benefit for both for the community and the company or this corporate. Thank you very much.
Participant can type your questions now.
Video, only audio. Yeah. Now I'll take the first question. Will you please highlight the contribution of TVS towards enhancement of the status of education and the locations where TVS CSR is active? Now we have, now if you take the state of Tamil Nadu, we have 13 centers where we work. More than 600 schools we work in these 13 centers, both the primary schools, secondary schools and high schools. Now we try to work along with the teachers, the parents and the students in all these schools. As I said earlier, you provide the necessary environment for the children to perform. The good school means a good environment, good facilities, and after that we look at the whole studies. How many are poor performance, the slow learners, identify them through an exam. We keep an exam in the beginning and identify children who have poor capacity to study, and then find out the reason after discussing with the parent and the child, and then regularly try to address them through the help of study facilitators. We engage study facilitators to address these children where teachers themselves are not able to take care of. If the children and the headmasters or the headmistress take care of, we try to support them. And I find in many schools, the problem is nobody is recognizing and respecting the headmasters and the teachers to the required level. This is what the major lacuna. If you start recognizing, respecting teachers and headmasters or headmistress, and then support them in and support the lacuna and the deficiency, you will find they perform well. Once they perform and the parents also come into the role, parent, teachers and children, and we being the external supporters, are able to do considerable impact in the schools in enhancing the quality of education. What is the child doing? How much is it studying? How much is it able to understand? How much is able to reproduce? And we give a lot of importance to maths and communication. We try to make use of the softwares and the books available, provide them and take them through a series of exercises and follow it up. And the field directors take special interest to monitor the progress of quality enhancement in the schools under their control. Now coming to the second part, what is the time and the resources spent in a village on average, and do you use other agencies, NGOs help to you? How do you measure the impact of your CSR initiative? Is there a third party that verifies the statistics? Yes. This is a very important questions that you have raised. As far as the time spent is concerned, we spent enough of time and resources in the village as soon as we enter. As I said, our animators and we call them as village development facilitators and the community development officers are sufficiently trained to handle this. We regularly take them through regular exercises once in a month or even sometimes even more. And we have regular discussions with them as to the job and the work chart of theirs. And we take them through a series of exercises to enhance their capacity. They do this job. They enter into the village and they do it. And we also support, engage people available if we lack any resource persons are not available. But our own people are capable enough to handle of entry into the village, understanding the resource base available, understanding and doing a need assessment survey, and then planning as to how and what are the activities to be done based on the priorities, and then work along with the villages. Our people are also strong and capable enough to facilitate various government schemes and programs by tying up with the local government officials, by keeping them excellent relationship with them. So that's how we take up these programs in this. As far as as there is a mention that you made that there is enormous base work at the village before you enter. You are very correct. You know, in certain villages which are quite developed and which can understand this, you can do it faster. But in rural interior villages like tribals, you'll have to spend more time. So depending upon the stage of development, the stage at which the people can understand and accept this community development as an important part in their longer scope of development, you can plan accordingly. But the truth is, you will have to spend enough of time in the villages in the beginning to understand the village, recognize and respect the villages, and make them partners. After all, you see, your level for them to reach, it takes time. So you will have to go to that level, gradually bring them up as partners, and that's where the whole thing is important. The RLS Mandala is specifically mentioned because for us to understand that you have to, each village is different, and in each village what is different must be understood, and accordingly you must plan. So the team which we have is gradually coming to that level, and we are still improving, and we want to improve further and further to ensure that our entry is smooth, our understanding is stronger, our participation is better, and our work are of the highest quality. We want to do a really good professional community development in these villages, and we do engage agencies from outside to monitor and see what the program is producing impact. Our own impact auditing teams are there. Independent auditing team goes and does auditing, and we also audit regularly, but we also engage people from outside to do an external independent auditing and monitoring, which gives us a feedback as to whether the results are really genuine and are the people really happy. After all, people themselves will audit, and if ultimately the trust lies in people saying and accepting that yes, the program is useful and we have benefited. To me, the ultimate auditor is the people themselves, and the people audit and then say yes, we have benefited and we have reached a stage of development in which we can take care of ourselves. That is the ultimate audit one should be looking for. Does TV have a fixed set of criteria for adopting villages under CSR? We do not have such a fixed criteria, but we have certain criteria. Number one, as I said, it should be an area of influence around our establishments. You know, we do a lot of temple renovation and support. Now, around the temple, there are a number of villages. That also we try to support, because, you know, temple itself we are renovating to ensure that the community gets the benefit, not for ourselves. That becomes a point where all congregate irrespective of religion. In addition to that, we also support all the villages around our factories as the program villages. Interior villages, we do it. Now today, what we are trying to do is ensure that all the block as a whole, and the panchayat as a whole in that area is tackled totally, so that it becomes easy for us to facilitate the government schemes and programs. So the criteria is only this: around the factories, around the temples, interior rural villages, tribal villages, and then in blocks, so that it becomes easy for us to do it. Today we are also supporting watershed development programs where the whole watershed is taken together, and in that watershed, the villages which are all there, we do community development. In fact, to me, ultimately, if you can tackle at the village in watershed areas, then it becomes much more beneficial, and the impact is much more lasting. Thus, then the last one is what is the average amount spent per year in CSR and share of each vertical? Now, this is a very difficult question for me to answer straight away, but I can tell you that it will vary from village to village. Each vertical, in some villages, economic development would be important. In some villages, school education is important. In some villages, health is important. If I do a primary health center in some schools, in some villages, then that is more important. So, on the whole, the amount of money spent varies. And to me, if you want to judge your result based on the money spent, you will be totally defeated. So we need not worry about how much money per village, but minimum requirement after doing the need assessment, what is required, government schemes must be tallied, because our aim is to facilitate government schemes and programs and bring them and ensure that it reaches the people. But wherever there is a deficiency, we contribute. We find that enough money is not, but certain things we are very particular. As I said, in schools, toilet, drinking water supply, and kitchen. We ensure that all the three are minimum are always there in all the schools. Classroom facilities, yes, that also we ensure. Health facilities in primary health centers, what is essentially required. Communication, if it is not available, minimum one road which takes some support that. So therefore, the basic thing must be fulfilled. For that, whatever money is required, you must ensure that it's done. If not done in that concerned year, next year at least it must be done. So regularly it must be done. It is for you to plan and do it, and ensure that enough money is available or enough money is resourced. Then SST CSR activity helping the business of TVS Group, how to integrate CSR into business. Now you see, these are two things which are separate apart. Business is different. As far as we are concerned, we are into manufacture of scooters, motorcycles, and auto rickshaws. Now that is different from the CSR. It definitely helps in the sense it gives you a brand name, it gives you a good relationship, and people are happy if I go and come on TVS, and the TVS spreads. The message is the TVS name spreads, and once they know that TVS do good business, and reputable business and also fair business, your business definitely grows up. But the reputation is something which you build over a period of time, and the reputation of the company in every respect has to be looked at. And if you can relate it to community and give a message that we care for you, we are a part of you, and we are a company which are not absolutely interested only in business, not worried about other things. The message goes to everybody. That's how TVS gets the maximum benefit out of it, that its contribution towards community is recognized and it will be reflected in business in any case. And in addition to that, it gives some sort of a confidence and morality to the company and its employees. We all get they say, oh, you people are not just doing business, but you are worried about the well-being of the community. If community is happy, community's well-being is taken care of, and their capacity to buy things, their economic viability or suitability is taken care of, then the business grows. Not only TVS, but the whole business grows. They grow. So as I said earlier, it is a win-win situation for both the community and the companies. Do you have sustainability report, and are you a member of the UNGC? Were there any challenges you faced in the villages while implementing CSR? There are two questions, I think, together. How to integrate CSR, and do you have a sustainability report? Yes, we have a sustainability report. We are not published them, but we have our own sustainability report which are made and kept with us, where we do provide a space for the community development as a part of the CSR. And were there any challenges you faced in the villages while implementing CSR initiatives? Yes, a large number of challenges you do face, and we have faced. In the beginning when we took up CSR, it was extremely, or community development, it was really difficult to convince people that we are genuine and we are interested in community development. And in cases, some villages, they ask, why are you coming? You are coming to do business. Now the question comes in, but once you start demonstrating and proving to them that it is not in your interest alone, but it is in their interest that you are there, it takes some time. So once you start building and trust in the area, everybody comes to know that. Now, who all are the people who should accept you as a main interventionist? Now, first of all, people should accept. Then the government servants and the government department should accept. Now, it is even difficult for government servants and government department to accept. They'll ask you, why are you coming? We are here to do the job. Why the hell are you coming and troubling us? That sort of questions will be asked. Villages themselves also, as I said, there are variabilities. Some of them will support, some of them will not. And even there are a lot of, vested interest which will come in. Politics comes into the picture. Fortunately, we have kept out of politics most of the time. But politics is a realistic thing, and reality rather, and you'll have to live with it. So politics do come in, and even when you implement programs, everything will not go exactly as you want. There will be failures, there will be mixed reactions. Then you'll have to cope up with that. So you find innumerable small problems, but to me, they are all manageable. These are all situations which I find will come, but they are all challenging, but it makes it interesting. It makes it really worthwhile to tackle them, and we keep on pursuing that. We don't stop. We don't stop at all. Unless we complete, we pursue that. We note it, and till we complete, we don't leave it. You keep on working along with the villages, working with departments, working with like-minded organizations, and the result will come. Only thing what I would perhaps underline is, if you have patience, if you have perseverance, all problems are can be tackled. No problem is a problem unless you think that it cannot be tackled. It can be tackled, solutions can be found, but patience and perseverance is the answer, which I think we are trying to develop in our personals. And once that is done, this community development becomes an enjoyable job. Now, what about CSR reporting? You see the CSR, what is this GRI reporting? Okay. Yes. This is another area which we are at to come to terms with. GRI reporting, we are only sustainability report we have made. GRI reporting, we are at to do that. We'll have to do this, yes. Okay. Yeah. Was it? Oh, you have also asked another question. How did you identify 5,000 villages that you want to work with? As I said earlier, we work in 5 states, Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka, Maharashtra and Himachal Pradesh. Now these are the places where we have our own industries. Now around the industries we take villages and then start spreading from there. We want to make them compact and in blocks. Now from the we have not identified 5,000 villages today. We have identified 2,500 villages where we are working now. Gradually we will expand that. And it will not be 1 year, etc. It will be in blocks and contiguous blocks. So in Tamil Nadu, if you take, there are 13 centers. In these 13 centers, for example, in Tiruvannamalai Padavedu, which is the first center that we started, we have more than 400 villages. Now, if you take Tootukurin in Navatirupati, is the Tootukurin of Tamil Nadu, we have around 400 villages. They are all adjacent to each other, they are in blocks. Now these villages are around, as I said, the areas where we are working, where we have our own establishments. And likewise, we have identified 2,500 villages where we are working in compact blocks. Was a thorough need-based assessment, or you mainly went with villages around your facilities? Now, village selection is around our facilities available, and in those villages we need to need assessment. And under the need assessment, once the need assessment is done, we do the prioritization, how to go about the activities, match up with the government schemes, and then support with our own funding and go about it. Some of the villages, it has taken us more than 10 years, some villages 15 years to reach a self-sufficiency with the money available from us as well as government schemes. To us, maybe about 10 years is generally required, and some of the well-developed villages otherwise, which are rich enough with enough of land and water and a good enterprise, you may find 3 to 5 years also self-sufficient villages can be developed, provided government, the concerned organization and the people work together. So it is definitely a need-based assessment, but sometimes you need not go exactly in order in which we have underlined the whole program. You can do parallelly simultaneous operation is also possible. It will vary from village to village. It is only a model. From there it can be taken up. But integrated, harmonious, sustainable community development program is essential, which is going to vary from village to village. The basic model will remain the same, but we can vary according to the situation and the need. you mentioned that you take support from the Gram Sabha for village development program. What kind of support would that entail? Yes. This is, I find, one of the very, very important question from the point of view of participation. You see, the community should participate as one of the important participants. Now, how do they participate? Can an individual participate by himself? He cannot. Can a family participate? No, but a community as a whole should support. That means you have to have an institution to take care of the community's needs. And today, only constitutionally accepted body is the Gram Sabha. And many places the Gram Sabha themselves don't know what it is and what role they are supposed to play. So if you can activate the Gram Sabha and educate them and make them understand what the role are, enhance their capacity, then you can have that institution to play a larger role on behalf of the community. That's what we are doing. Gradually we are making the Gram Sabha to meet. They don't even meet regularly. And even if they meet, they don't know what role they are supposed to play in community development. But if Gram Sabha is made aware of the responsibilities and duties, and if they play that role, then you will find that the villages have somebody to ask questions to anybody who enters the village. Now the government department needs to be supported, needs to be facilitated, needs to be done everything. But they must also be questioned by somebody. Individual question, nobody will bother. Family cannot question. But the Gram Sabha can question. And the Gram Sabha must continuously review, pass resolutions, send it to the concerned organization or government departments and get the things done. Then the whole village becomes vibrant. The village becomes vibrant only if an institution to take care of the need is made active. And today what is available is Gram Sabha, and it is an accepted legal entity, and Gram Sabha must feel its strength. Most of them don't know what to do and who should do, what to do. Nobody is able to do it continuously, and this is where the outsider who understands the whole thing can do with no other interest but to make them more self-dependent and perform their own function. So this is a very, very important organization called Gram Sabha, and if we can make the Gram Sabha to play a larger, active, strong role, then community development will definitely become more meaningful, and it will remain sustained throughout the life of the village. So it is very, very important. Thank you, Mrs. Valini, and thank you all others, Mr. Murali Murthy, Mr. Swaminathan, Mr. Matthew John, and Murali Murthy and others. Thank you very much.